We are Mariah and Colby. We drove across country from Florida to San Carlos, Mexico with our two cats, Namiria and Took. We are coming back for another cruising season in the Sea of Cortez on our sailboat Tigerlily. We hope you'll follow along and subscribe.
Back at the boat again today. Yesterday I was able to get all the blocks that I made coated in epoxy so they're fully encapsulated so no water can get in. Now I'm going to take this all down, maybe have to sand them up a little bit, but then get them on the boat and epoxy down and maybe even fiberglass today. We'll see how far I get. I've got those blocks for the chain plates all epoxied in, and I'm gonna wait for those to dry before I put fiberglass over them. There are 3 more points that I have to put wood blocks down. There's 2 cleats up on the bow that I have to put back in, and then there's the bow roller. But the thing is that the fiberglassers, when they're on board or when they were working on it, they put fiberglass right over those holes and then put the filler over it. So I cannot, I don't know where those holes are, and I don't want to drill new holes right next to the old ones. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can drill it from underneath, but unfortunately up in the bow, because of all the angles, I don't have enough room to put a drill bit. The other option is wait till it's nighttime, and then I have a spotlight, put a spotlight in the bow facing up towards the holes, and then drill out where the light shines through. So that is I think that's what I'm going to do. So it's going to have to wait. I made a little bit too much epoxy. While that's drying, I'm going to go back to trying to put the inside of this boat back together. I started on the starboard side yesterday, and I got fairly far, but I have a lot more to go. It's been such a long trip. It's been a month already, and I know we've gotten some stuff done, but it also feels like we haven't gotten anything done. And here we are, December 1st. I gotta go back to work in January, and so it's like I gotta make sure things are done. I still have the mast to put back on the boat. I still have to work on the mast, and still have to paint the bottom. I still have a number, and a water maker. I still have a number of things to do. So it's kind of piling up on me, but what do you do? Good morning. I can't remember where I left you off. I think it was probably working inside here, getting the inside put back together. I know it still looks like a mess, but it is kind of put back together. The reason it's still a mess is because everything's still stored down here. I haven't taken anything out because we're working on the deck. And yesterday I actually sanded the entire deck, which was very dusty. And I'm hoping I can get to putting the first coat of primer on today. I do need to go get some acetone at some point today to clean the deck with before I do the primer. But anyway, that is what I'm doing this morning. I got here earlier than normal and got started on masking off some places first in preparation for paint. And the fiberglasser, he was making some little pads, especially for the through holes, or not through holes, but the deck fittings for the water and fuel intake, and he hasn't shown up with those yet. He's here, he says he has them, I just don't have them yet. So those have to be put in place and epoxied in, I think, before I actually paint that area. You can see the deck is not quite as red as it was before. Oop, almost lost my balance. There we go. There's a few spots like behind the stanchion. I don't know if you can see that. There's a spot of fiberglass that didn't get epoxy, so that's what I'm talking about, one of those places. And then also these, I'll show you the deck fittings I'm talking about. This one's the fuel intake. That deck fitting needs a little pad to go around it, so I'm waiting on that. Let's keep going on. Oh, and I should say, right now I'm cleaning the areas that are dusty with Goof Off to put masking tape down. I would rather use acetone, but I think the store that has acetone is closed right now this early in the morning, so I'm just using Goof Off just to do the masking tape, and then I'll go get actual acetone for cleaning the entire deck. So. Everything is masked off, I think. I was able to raise the bow rails so I could paint it. As you can see right there. This is the last video. Someone started talking to me, sorry. So I've got one more quick sanding to do on the entire deck, but first I'm going to take some 80 grit sandpaper and go in by hand into the places that I can't get with my sander. Well, unfortunately there's a few spots that I had to fix with some more epoxy, and this just means more time to dry. So I'm gonna try and just get the sanding done on the big areas and get that finished with, and then I'll leave and go get some acetone and come back. I mean, at least I know that I know where the spots are where I had to put epoxy, so at least I can put primer on certain areas and then be okay, and then figure out the rest. So that's maybe what I have to do. It's supposed to be a hot day today, so I'm hoping it dries pretty fast. So. Well, my back sufficiently hurts from bending over. Alright, I am going to get my keys and go find some acetone. I just left to go get some lunch and find some acetone. And nowhere has acetone. Depot, all the paint stores, nowhere. Seems like whenever I need something, actually need something. Anyway, I'm gonna have to use Goof Off to clean the deck, because I'm not waiting another day to see if someone gets acetone in tomorrow. Probably not though. So that's what I'm gonna do. Clean it with Goof Off. Hopefully tomorrow I can get actual acetone, and that's what I'll use after that. So get ready to do the paint. I've got this guy ready to go. I have thinner ready to go. I'm not gonna put too much into it, but it is a hot day, so I feel like a little thinner is gonna help. And I've got my mixers ready somewhere. I'm sorry I wasn't able to film as much painting as I wanted to. Since I'm in Mexico and everything's kind of so dry and warm and hot, the paint kind of dries fast, so I had to work kind of fast, so not too much filming. But there is the deck with all the primer on it. That's the first coat of primer. I'm gonna put 2 coats on, and tomorrow I'll just have to do a light sanding, clean it again with acetone, and then, well, yeah, same as today.
We about to be the best smelling people in the Anchorage, or at least not the worst smelling.
Not the worst
people.
smelling. That's the key. Not the worst smelling. I wouldn't say the best smelling. I think what I should do is actually take these to the boat and see if they're gonna fit, because that's the deciding factor on where all this stuff goes.
Yeah. The best is the bubble wrap.
All right, that's everything for the Watermaker except for the AC pump, which is in here, as you can see. But besides that, most of this is just filters and pickling solution that I got, extra filters. So the rest of this, I just gotta figure out where to put everything. So I'm gonna take some stuff to the boat maybe tomorrow and kind of look at where I think it's gonna go, which is in the main stateroom cabinet. There's a little cabinet. It's gonna be hard to get into. It's gonna be tough to install right there, but if it fits right there, it'd be the perfect spot for it. Good morning again. I found an agate. It's a piece of fiberglass. I am back at the boat again this morning. I have a couple things on my to-do list today, which first one is to put a second coat of primer on, which I'm not going to film because I need Mariah to film for me, and she's at home doing something, or at the Airbnb doing something, and I can't. It's hard for me to film and paint at the same time. And second, the bow roller. So yesterday I put on some filler epoxy to cover up some dents, as you can see right up there, red stuff. That needs to be sanded smooth today and faired in. So that's also on my list, which I'm thinking I'm going to start with that. And then lastly, figure out a placement for the Watermaker and kind of figure out what needs to happen there, because yeah, there's quite a few things that's got to have to happen, and it's just going to take a little while. So anyway, I have an idea, so let's start with fairing that in up there. I will say it's kind of fun to have to wear socks on the deck now instead of shoes, because I don't want to make marks. Alright, so I got the second coat of primer on, as you can see here. She looks pretty. The primer obviously is not the final coat of white, but it's kind of fun to see what it's going to kind of look like, because it's going to be a little more glossy than that. And then obviously we have the white, or the beige non-skid on top of that, and it's going to look really good. So yeah, so now I'm just going to wait for that to dry. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get a coat of, or start the first coat of the gloss white today. Probably shouldn't. I should be patient. I don't think I'm gonna do the gloss today because I still have to put in the little blocks that go underneath the through deck fittings for the diesel inlet and the water. And this is kind of, the fiberglasser was supposed to do it, and then he was getting the pieces made, and he has pieces in his car, but he still hasn't done it. So I think I'm just gonna get the pieces from him and just do it myself, because at least then it'll get done. It may not be the prettiest, but it'll work. Hey, in the boat, back behind here is where I was thinking of putting it. It's kind of a tight squeeze in there. Let's just see if I can clear some stuff out of here and stuff out of there and see if it'll fit. So this is where I had in mind. You can see there's a little bit of space in there. Okay, so I can't really be in there holding it while I show you, but I think I'll be able to fit this. It's sitting a little bit low right now, but there's plenty of room up top, even up a little bit here. See if I can go up. Yeah, see, plenty of room to bring it up, that I can mount it on the wall right there, up and down, and there's enough room for me to get the hoses looped. And then I think on the back wall back there, I can put those water filters. And if I play my cards right, I might be able to even keep the hanger in there for the coats. And I'm thinking that the motor, well, I don't know where the motor is going to sit yet. I haven't really gotten that far. I think I'm getting to a point, I might even make a panel down there that's inset down at the bottom for the actual panel, because it'd be nice to close this door and just have it all shown away, and then I can go down there and start making water. But the good news is it's gonna fit. Now the question I have now is obviously I need a water intake. So there's a possibility I could do a tee off of the intake from the to the salt water going to the toilet for flushing. It sounds gross, but it's just water inlet. It's not poopy going out. Or I have a saltwater foot pump for the sink that I was thinking of getting rid of since we have a water maker now. The only issue is that's all the way up there. The nice thing about that is that is kind of a port setup ready to go. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I got the first part mounted, and the fiberglass showed up to do the little pads, so I'm happy about that. But here, I'll show you how far I've made it so far. But there is the first of the filters. So in order to get it in there, I had to change a few things around. Don't worry, Sea Water Pro. I don't think it's gonna matter to you. So you have those T valves in here, and as far as I can tell, there is no specific way of flow for them. It's just an open T valve. So I had to flip the one on the end around, both of them on the ends around, to get it in there so that none of the hoses will be kinked. Flush, was it the flush timer? Whatever it's called, is that what it's called? Let me look it up so I have the right. Rinse timer, sorry, not flush. So the rinse timer, I had to mount going down because there wasn't enough room up above. So I hope that's okay too. I can't imagine it's too much of an issue simply because it's all pressurized water. It doesn't really matter where it is as far as I know. So anyway, yeah, so that's that. I put hoses on one end because I won't be able to reach back there to put hoses on any other time. So I'll just have to kind of run those and mount and cut those to length, which that's fine. That's what needs to be done anyway. And then now we're on to the doohickeys that actually make seawater into salt water. Membranes. So next I gotta get the membranes kind of set up, and I think I'm gonna conjoin them together and then they get mounted. It's gonna be heavier that way, but I think that's the best way to do it. I'm gonna go see what the fiberglasser is done with those pads, and then if he's done, then I'll probably have to put a little bit of primer on those guys to the point of mounting the membranes. So I've got that kind of ready to go. See if I can mount them in there right next to each other. Well, by no simple feat, they are in there, and they do fit. And I know that the rinse timer is kind of hidden, but from what I understand, you never really need to get to it that much except change the batteries, which I should check to make sure you can get the batteries out of it, because that's kind of an important deal. But besides that, it's in there. It looks good. It's secure. They're both secure. I just gotta connect hoses, modify the plate that goes down at the bottom there, and I'm gonna mount the motor to that plate and bolt everything down. And then I gotta figure out hose runs to here and there and the other place. So, okay, so I'm gonna show you kind of, doesn't look like I've done much. I made these little brackets right here that are gonna hold this panel right here. Sorry for the mess, but I had to take everything out of the closet. And right now, well, I got most of the lines kind of ran to it. The boost pressure, the brine flow to the regulator, and then that's it for now. There's gonna be more. I still have the freshwater output to get over to the panel too, which maybe I'll do that real quick. But right after that, I need to figure out the brine output from the water maker. So the water maker makes water. It separates basic, well, I don't know how it really does it, but you know, separates salt water from fresh water, and all that salt water that's left over, the concentrated salt water, needs to go somewhere. So it needs to go overboard. So there's a through hole above the waterline through hole on the port side, below the nav station, that is not being used for anything right now. Nothing's connected to it. I think it's just a closed seacock. And I think I don't know if the seacock's broken. I actually don't know what's up with it. So I gotta get to it and check it out, because that's where I'd like to run the brine to, is over to there and have it go over the port side. Once I figure out that, then it's wait till tomorrow, because I need to go to the stores and get hoses and fittings and stuff. So, but if I can get that checked out today and figure that out, that would be ideal. So I'm probably gonna, probably hook up the freshwater output from the membranes and get that ran to the panel, and then check out that that through hole. And the deck is still a little bit wet outside, so I can't start anything quite yet. Exciting news. So that through hole is not broken. Actually, it's been an odd spot, so I've never really taken a look at it before. It's not broken, and in fact, it even has a hose hooked up to it that goes down into. It went to a pump that's down here, and I have no idea what the pump's for. Or used to be for something that's not there anymore from the past owner of the boat. So I'm gonna get rid of that pump because it's not doing anything. Really not hooked up to anything. I had a hose hooked up to go out, but not a hose going into it, so I don't know what it was. So now I cut off a piece of the hose so I can get the right size fittings, and I can extend from where it comes out in the engine bay and up to the outlet. So it's not gonna be that long of a run, and it's all sitting there waiting for me. So yeah, very exciting that is that's good now. That's almost about as far as I can go on the Watermaker today, because I need parts and stuff to do the rest of it.